It is close to 9 months since Robert Mugabe suffered an accident from this very point in Muyenga, near Muyenga police post. He is still grappling with injuries he sustained amidst financial challenges that have put his treatment in balance. This is leaving his life in danger. The 27-year-old Robert Mugabe is an employee of Torres Advanced Enterprise Solutions, a private security company in Kampala. This is Mugabe's identity card and official uniforms obtained from his workplace.
Uniforms are nkyazirina wano.
Nina engatto bbiri, essaati nnya n'empale nnya.
Nali nkolera Torres nga nkuuma abazungu. Bwe nali nkuuma baali bakolera American Embassy.
Mugabe says he was traveling from his workstation in Muyenga on 9th August 2021 while riding a bicycle with a colleague when they were knocked by a car. The two cyclists were injured along with a colleague who was also walking along.
Nali nina omuwala wali bamuyita Justin Kagaali, motoka yawe yali esoda bweti ng'egenda ku hoteeri. Nenkola ki nenjigezaako gisala ne tutomera omulenzi naye twali tukola naye bali bamuyita Sam.
We are breeding a lot, so they put them on the 99 on the pickup truck for police. Then the lady sat in the Torres, the company they work for.
All three injured persons were then rushed to Mukwaya General Hospital in Kabalagala for first aid. However, due to the nature of the serious injuries they had sustained, they were referred to International Hospital, Kampala.
At IHK, they attended to them. Of course, they first communicated with Torres, whereby Torres accepted that they know the guards, they are employees, so IHK should work on them.
Here, Mugabe, who was the most affected by the accident, was unconscious for 2 months.
His brain, since he had some blood droplets, after the first operation, the brain started to swell. So they took him to the theater again and decided to remove some bones to expand, to create space for the brain to breathe such that he doesn't die. Because if it swells too much, it means you die.
Mugabe stayed in the hospital, receiving treatment up to December when he was discharged after his bill reached 81,876,000 shillings. His employers appear to have abandoned him in hospital, as indicated by hospital documents.
They paid for the two, which he had in the same accident. But then later, when they realized the bills for this one were high, so they turned away from him. They started saying, we don't know, we are not sure, he was not at work, maybe.
A look at Mugabe shows a depression, which indicates that a part of his skull was withdrawn to help in his recovery from brain injuries sustained.
Wano wanduma n'okugulu tekutambula bulungi n'eriiso lino teriraba.
Actually, his survival depended on that, on the removal of those bones. If they didn't remove, he was going to die right away.
He needs further treatment, however. Until his bill is settled, nothing can be done. When asked about Mugabe's fate, his employers referred us to their lawyer, Hussein Kashirinji of Kashirinji Lugaband Advocates, who declined to speak on camera on the matter, although later shared some voice notes on the same.
Mr. Mugabe was employed by Torres as a guard, and the company maintains an insurance, a medical insurance cover for the guards up to a certain limit. So he was hospitalized at Kampala International Hospital, and we met the bills up to the maximum of his medical cover.
In his explanation, the lawyer says they had cautioned the hospital that they would not be liable once the medical bill exceeded their medical insurance limit.
We formally wrote to the hospital notifying it that this is what the coverage is for the employee, and beyond that, we are not liable as a company.
However, Robert Wanzusi Matuku, an executive director at Global Workers and Environment Rights, a group looking out for workers' rights, says the Workers' Compensations Act of 2000 is clear on Mugabe's fate.
Section 12(1) states that where a worker has given notice of an accident, the employer shall, as soon as reasonably possible, after the date on which notice has been given, arrange to have the worker medically examined by a qualified medical practitioner at no charge to the worker. And Section 12.4 further emphasizes the fact that during the period of temporary total incapacity, the employer shall be liable to pay the cost of medical care. Now, the cost of this medical care is not defined that maybe you should be able to pay up to this tune and the other should be a liability of the worker. The worker is not supposed to pay even a single cent. I don't know which law they are reading. You tell us about the policy of the company. The policy of the company must comply with the law. Any policy of the company that is contrary to the law is null and void.
Wanzusi Matuku says they have taken interest in the matters.
We are taking them to court as an organization to ensure that the worker enjoys his right. We are now resorting to mobilizing money from well-wishers so that the worker can be able to go back for treatment while we are waiting for the rest to wake up.
IHK has been commended for fast caring to save Mugabe's life before looking out for whether he could afford the medical bill. Patrick SENYONDO, NTV.